We are here at the 2024 Scarsdale Concours, and this is actually my first time visiting, so we'll see how it is. But from what I've seen on like social media and from what I've just heard, it seems like it's a pretty good show. They do it right in town, so you can see all the cars parked along the streets, just like Caffeine and Carburetors does. So let's get right into it. So we're gonna start over here in this strip with the McLaren Artura. Very beautiful supercar in my opinion. It's kind of like your entry-level $250,000 McLaren. Then followed by a new Aston Martin Vantage, Bentley Continental GT Speed Edition. Then we have the Rolls-Royce Wraith. Come along here, have a really nice Roma Spider. Check that out. Even that color, like, I'm not exactly sure what the name of the color is, but that is pretty nice. And more with the Ferraris, we have the very classic Ferrari Testarossa with the flat 12 engine. Sounds great. We have 458 Spider, also really nice, and then a 488 Pista. Obviously the limited edition of the 488. Nowadays you could expect these to go for at least $500,000, and they're probably only gonna appreciate in price from here. And then we have like the entry level, or was the entry level, Ferrari California. Here we have a California T, followed by another Roma, very nice and blue. We have an F355 Spider, one of my favorite Ferraris of the 1990s. I'm probably one of the best handling and driving Ferraris from what I've heard. You have that mid-engine V8. Wow, lots of Ferraris. You have 458 Italia, 599 GTB, very nice. That's the V12 model that came before the F12 and 812, and I honestly love the 599s. Probably has one of the best sounding V12s, but all of them sound pretty good, especially in the Ferraris. Over here we have a 488 Spider, and check that out, Lotus Emira. Kind of like an entry-level supercar, pretty much. And over here, I think what we have is the Maserati GT. That's not something you see every day, but is a pretty cheap car. But as we all know, Maseratis are known for being cheap. Their used models are known for being low priced because of their reliability issues. If we come over here, I'm not sure what that is, Mitsubishi, but we have this really nice E90 M3, probably future classic. They're already starting to appreciate in value. We have an SLS AMG, and De Tomaso Pantera, very nice. One of my favorite supercars of the 1970s. Not something you see every day either. We have the SRT 10 Viper, huge engine. That's an 8-liter V10. Here we have a Jaguar E-Type, which is one of my favorite classic cars, and I always liked it. It's an E-Type Roadster in green. I always liked the way they look in that green color. Here we have another E-Type, followed by Triumph TR250, and nice Austin Healey 3000. So over here is the section of most of the American classics. This includes muscle cars like this one, the Camaro Z28. Probably late 60s, early 70s, I would imagine. That's when they made it. And it was basically the most powerful Camaro and one of the most powerful cars at the time. Over here we have this Bel Air in black, probably like 1955 or so. If I had to guess the year, we have Ford Mustang Mach 1, very nice in orange. I've never even seen one in orange. We have a Camaro SS over there. And you get along here, you have another Viper. Very nice. 50, I think 55 Bel Air. We have a few of the C1 Corvettes. So yeah, we have two C1s. We have a really nice C2 427 7-liter V8. Check that engine out. Very great motor. It sounds really good, and it's the same engine they used like in the Cobra and a few of the the Copo Camaro. So yeah, this was one of the fastest cars of the 60s. We have another one over here, 67 Corvette, followed by another one. Yeah, the Corvettes are also pretty good, like with these local car shows. There's usually a lot of them, and I can see why people like them. Speaking of there, we have the C8. Here we have some of the German classics, like the Beamers, of course, the Porsches. We have a 944 over there. We have a 991 GT3. We have a very nice turbo over here. I think it's a 930 turbo. Ooh, check that out. 3RS 992. We have some more of the classic Porsches from all different generations. You have a really nice 718 Spider RS edition. It's looking good. We have more of the Beamers, like some of the M3s from each generation. If any of you aren't sure what this is the Maserati Bora. Basically a mid-engine 4.9 liter V8 Italian supercar from the 1970s, which has kind of been forgotten. And I'm not the biggest, I was never a big fan of this car, but it still has that iconic shape of a 70s supercar. Like, and they are worth a lot of money now because you don't see it too much, it's rare, it's desirable for collectors. We have that 356, followed by, what's this? BMW 3.0 CS, I believe. I don't think it's a CSL, no. We have a Range Rover from Enthusiast Auto Works, surprisingly, at a car show. Range Rover. Here we have a very nice M3 CSL, not something you see every day, not your casual M3. We have this sick Aventador in red. We've seen this before at a few other events, but check that out. This is probably one of my favorite Aventadors, one of the best specs on any Aventador I've ever seen, not only in person, but even on the internet. Like, it's like that menacing red color with those rims. It looks sick. And over here you have a very classic, relatively new, within a decade, SLS AMG Black Series. Since they're so rare and desirable, they're now worth close to $1 million, which I find crazy on how this car has gone up in price so fast. But it basically is a rendition of the 300 SL Goldwing from the 50s because it has the golden doors, obviously. So let me know in the comments, which car are you taking? The 2005 Ford GT or this 2021 Ford GT Heritage Edition? For me, it's 100% the 2005 Ford GT. The reason why I'm taking this car over the new one is because you have that iconic design inspired by the Ford GT40. The GT was made for a 40-year anniversary of the GT40. It pretty much has the exact same design. The only differences are it's a little higher, and of course the modern technology. But yeah, whatever. Very good car. Nowadays you could expect it to sell for probably like $500,000, going up in price. You have that awesome V8 engine. This car could easily do over 200 miles an hour. It's a supercar by some standards, even a hypercar. They didn't make a lot of these. They're extremely fast and they're rare, so it pretty much checks most of the boxes for a hypercar. Just a lot of people wouldn't consider a hyper because most people say either the McLaren F1 or the Veyrons were the first true hypercars, and this car was made by Ford. But I would still put it in that category, even though it's more supercar, more. Remember, it was inspired by one of the most iconic race cars of all time. The GT40 was the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans winner for like 4 straight years, I believe. And here we have the new Ford GT, well, 2021, still pretty new, 3 years whatsoever. You could see that the design really changed significantly. Like, it doesn't even look like the same car anymore. It's a little different. Instead of the V8 you get in the 2005 GT, this one has a twin-turbo V6, which could get the car all the way up to almost 220 miles an hour. I think that's the top speed, and it's like 600 and something horsepower. But yeah, I think it's an overrated car and a little overpriced. These cars are worth close to $1 million, the Ford GT. But again, like, they made a few thousand of them, I think. But I don't think they made enough of it for it to be the price that it is, especially because it's not like this exotic hypercar maker. It's still made by Ford whatsoever. Like, it has the speed of a supercar, but the price and design is like a hypercar for the new Ford GT. So that's why I'm taking the 2005 Ford GT over the new one. I think it looks better and just has more of the elegance from the GT40. Check this out, Porsche 356, classic sports car. Nice and easy, Ken. Nice 250 GTO. Is this real? Oh no, it's a replica. That's still insane. And look at that. I think we have a real 250. Alright, so I was not expecting what just showed up, but this is truly insane. Right here we have the 250 SWB Berlinetta. These are worth like about 10 million in good condition. But yeah, one of the nicest Ferraris ever made. Very classic. Not something you see every day. And come along here, you have the 250 GTO. Now, I would imagine it's a replica, but who knows? Yeah, if it's real, this is worth between 50 and 100 million. One of only 39, made from 1962 to 64. As we know, the 3-liter Colombo V12. About 300 horsepower, and winner of the Tour de France race multiple times. But yeah, awesome car. Whether a replica or not, it's still sick. Like, this is not something you see every day. Seriously, let's check that out. Definitely the 2 stars of the show right here. Wow, which car are you taking? Ferrari 250 GTO? Or that Ferrari 250 SWB Berlinetta? I would personally have to go with the GTO, but both of them you could definitely not go wrong with. If real, these are both 8-figure classic cars, very rare, and less than 100 of them exist in the world. Both of them come from 1600 Veloce, these 2 cars, and as we know, the 250 GTO won the Tour de France multiple times and was produced between 1962 and 1964 as a 3-liter, 300 horsepower Colombo V12 engine. See that FF thing? It's nice. That's a V12 there too. You could easily tell. But anyway, one of only 39 for the GTO. And prices are between 50 and 100 million. It's the second most expensive sold car in the world. One sold for about 70 million a few years back before the record was taken by the 300 SLR that sold for 142 million. Moving on to the 250 SWB Berlinetta, also a very rare V12 Ferrari from the early 1960s. I don't know as much about these as I do the GTO, but I know that it's a really desirable, beautiful classic car that Ferrari collectors really admire. And I'm pretty sure the prices are between about 8 and 10 million because of the rarity, and it's Ferrari 250. Anything from the Ferrari 250 series is most likely worth over $1 million. Very classic and rare. Like, you do not see any Ferrari 250 model casually on the road, let alone seeing these two right next to each other at a local car show. Whether replica or not, it's still something that you do not see every day for sure. But yeah, the 2 stars of the show right here, right now. You can see this is where most of the crowd has been throughout the entire show.